All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have everybody on the screen go ahead and introduce themselves individually because you guys can do a much better job of telling me and the audience who you are, who you represent, and what your definition of diversity is and what it means to you. So I'll start with Noreen.
Thank you, Maria. Appreciate it. Glad to be here and excited for this previous conversation. My name is Noreen Joroge. I'm currently the Director of Global Cyber Threat Intelligence at Nike, but here I'm also representing women in cybersecurity. Currently, I'm a board member there, where we really advocate for diversity. And surely WISI is embodied for that. We include all areas of diversity, whether you are elementary, high school, middle school, currently in the industry, we welcome each and everybody in the industry. And as you say, like WISI's global community of women, we have allies, advocates, we are all dedicated bringing talented women together to celebrate, foster. Even though it says women in cyber, we also advocate to have allies with us because in this industry, we need everybody in this current work we do. We create opportunities through professional development, programs, conferences, career fairs, and more. So when we speak about diversity, WISIS does it all, and every organization represented here is a full embodiment of what truly diversity is. So I'll stop it there, Marie, so I can give my other peers opportunity.
Awesome, thank you and welcome. Chloe, you're next on my screen.
Oh, yay. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Chloe Mistagi, and I am the Chief Impact Officer at Cyber is my day job. But my other job is I'm the co-founder and board member of We Open Tech, which is an organization that serves those in security and tech, no matter what their gender is. So it is a nonprofit geared towards marginalized genders and allies who would like to join. But I would say for me, when I think of diversity, I think it's a sense of belonging. It's knowing that you're not the only one in the room because of your background. When we feel like we're the only one in the room, we don't speak up. We're afraid we're going to be let go. We're afraid we're going to be dismissed. So it's so important that when we talk about DEI, it's also acknowledging that DEI is belonging. It's understanding that we all deserve to be there and we all have equal opportunities and equity throughout.
Awesome. Munish, you're next on my screen.
Hey everyone, my name is Manish. I'm here as a director of diversity. During the day, I work on critical infrastructure in the public sector. But diversity is, I like what Noreen said, it's all these groups who focus on people of color and women, have a lot of the similar programs that are out there, mentoring, building community, staying connected. I think something we've been talking about a lot is how do we continue to support people through their career? So not just widening the pipeline, but also continuing that growth and support throughout. And then the other thing that we think and talk a lot about and try and do things about is patching together the different aspects of the pipeline that are working on it so that that's smooth, and thinking a lot about the equity and inclusion. I think we'll talk about it here, but inclusion is hard to do if it's done well. And so that's something that we're constantly striving to do at Cybersea, but I'm really excited to be here with all of you. Thanks.
Awesome. Welcome, Rebecca.
Hello, hello. My name is Rebecca Skeet. I always tell people it's Rebecca with a K, kind of sticks out at you. My day job, I'm a security engineer with Shellman. Absolutely love it. It's like my 6 months. So I'm super excited to be part of an organization where I'm to say that I work there. And then also here as representative of Black Girls Hack. I am our COO. Still boggles my mind that I get to say that. While our name is Black Girls Hack, you don't have to be Black or a girl or hack to join, but that happens to be our focus. As far as what diversity means to me, it's kind of going to be an add-on to what Chloe said, in that, I think most people at this point have heard the saying that diversity is making sure that everyone's invited, inviting everyone to the dance. Inclusion is making sure it's in asking the person to dance. And then belonging, which is my favorite part, is being on the planning committee. You don't have to worry about asking a person to if they help pick out the music, if they're part of what's going on, they feel involved. It's more of a natural organic involvement. And I think that's what we're striving towards. I mean, it's good to say, hey, I'm going to amplify your voice. I'm going to amplify your voice. But at some point, I want you to feel comfortable enough in your you amplified on your own, and now we're looking for someone else to do the same. And so that's what diversity means to me. And I'm so grateful and honored that I get to work for an organization that believes the same thing.
Awesome. I love that. And last but not least, one of my newest friends, Yvonne. I think I said your name wrong. I apologize.
It is Yvonne.
Oh, okay.
That is my name. You did it. Like Mary said, my name is Yvonne. I am the co-founder and CEO of Cybermite by day. And then for the rest of my time, I'm the Central Florida Director for Raíces Cyber. And my definition of diversity, I don't know is as in-depth as yours, but as your all's, is that diversity to me is when you have more than just one sex, one race, or one set of beliefs inside of an organization or inside of a team. So you're a mixture of colors, a mixture of sexes, a mixture of beliefs. And I think what makes it inclusive is that all of them are able to come together and work together no matter their race, their sex, or their beliefs. And I think to me, I haven't experienced being in a diverse environment, except for Raíces Cyber, but most of the time when I do my job during the day, working on government contracts, most of it is not diverse. So I know the lack of inclusion that I feel when I go into those organizations. So I think if we could figure out a way to where everybody can come together, no matter all those things, I think that's what diversity and inclusion is. And that's it.
Awesome. Thank you. So for those in the audience, I want you to take a note of the fact that all of us on this panel right now, we all work and we all give back to the community, right? We all have diverse backgrounds. And that's really, really important when it comes to cybersecurity competitions and that kind of thing. So let's just jump right in. Rebecca, how can cybersecurity competitions and games be more inclusive?
I think it kind of ties into what we just said our definition of diversity is. The planning committee, if you're trying to reach a certain group or you want to cast the net wide, then the people who should reflect who they're trying to attract. I think that's a good way to start.
Okay, good answer. Very good point. Noreen, do you have anything to add about competitions and games being more inclusive?
In addition to what Rebecca said, I think all I can add is even when maybe the fly is created, inviting these people to join for such competition, make sure that you've articulated that it's not just for the specific, group, right? It's do you know how to play? Are you a fast timer? Are you an expert? Or, are you looking to coach or mentor? Everyone is invited so that it can be an inclusive competition together and everybody will feel really appreciated.
Awesome. Chloe, you've got some experience with cyber competitions. What are your thoughts?
Well, I remember when we did Women Unite Over CTF, what I wanted to do was let's get all the orgs that serve this one population together and let's partner together. And I think the most beautiful thing is when we work across, as everyone is seeing right now, we're all from a different organization, but we're all here because we care. We're driven about making a difference and changing our industry. So I think partner up with nonprofits that are, serving marginalized populations in our industry and work with them, but also make sure that when you're planning out whatever event that you're doing, make sure there's representation. That is incredibly critical to make sure that everyone feels accepted and that they belong to participate.
I like it. If you were not a part of the Women Unite Over CTF, it was a really good time. There's over 1,000 women from around the world in this competition. So definitely keep an eye out. We might do that again coming up soon. So let's shift gears just a little bit. So, and anybody can answer this question. What or who has influenced your thinking around D&I and motivated you to advocate for change? Yvonne, let's start with you.
So out of all the questions that we got yesterday, I found this one to be the hardest. First, I think that a lot of people have influenced me. I remember, sitting at a table in a meeting and seeing that the boss person was a woman. And that was the first time I saw that. And it was only 3 years ago. And in a cybersecurity technical position. And I remember just, that I was just very impressed by the fact that all the men in the room, because there was only one other woman, had to look to her and get, her nod, yes and no, you can do that. She influenced me a lot. Obviously, I feel very influenced by many people. I'm easily influenced, just you, Mary, when I went to the Cyberjutsu con, that was influential for me. That was huge for me. But I think that also I cannot ignore the fact that through my career, I've been in non-diverse situations. So I feel like my own situations have helped influence where I am today. It helped me to realize that organizations like Crisis Cyber and Cyberjutsu Con, WSC, those are the ones that I want to be a part of to help, Hispanic women or anybody that doesn't think they can do it, get into cybersecurity and help broaden that pipeline of diversity.
Awesome. Love it. Munish, what are your thoughts? Who's motivated you since you're director at Cyversity, a longstanding organization?
Yeah, it is a really hard question. I'll name drop a few folks, but I will also talk about the kinds of people that I think are influential for me. The kinds of people that are influential for me are willing to share, are generous with their hard-earned wisdom. So there are things, some of our most important lessons and insights come from really painful moments sometimes. And the people who are willing to share their insights that come from those means that they've done the work to go through it and they're going to share it with others. So those are the kinds of people that really influence me and show me hopefully how to do that for others. Two people in particular that I deeply admire that are incredibly motivating. And by that, I mean, I always feel lazy around them, like no matter how much I do, I'm always like, they're doing, how are you also? And is Camille, Stewart, and Lauren Zabiarek, the co-founders of Share the Mic. I don't think they even know the extent of the impact and the ricochet ripples, but I would say what's at the core of that for me, what was most impactful is not just amplifying voices of Black cyber professionals, absolutely, but actually the power of allyship. Watching them two work together has been incredibly powerful for me, both as an ally and then wanting to cultivate and help coach other allies. So yeah, that's I think who it is for me.
Those are great examples. Camille and Lauren they're fantastic. Rebecca, Noreen, Chloe, you guys want to add anything? Who's inspired you, motivated you?
I'm gonna tag team on what Manish said because I was a participant in Share the Mic in Cyber, and the way that I met Camille is that we had invited her on when I was with the Rangers at the time. We had an MLB Cyber Talk, and Camille came on and spoke, and she was like, Rebecca, you should sign up for this. And it's kind of been a chain reaction of involvement of things because of my participation there. And then in addition to that, Tanisha Martin, the founder of Black Girls Hack, what I absolutely love about her is that she is genuinely who she presents to be, and that some people you think, oh, they're nice or whatever else, but it's just a persona. It's just how themselves. She genuinely wants everyone to be successful and to achieve all their dreams. When I first joined Black Girls Hack and I was like, well, I think I'm interested in this. And she was like, no, girl, okay, this is the goal. This is how we're going to work towards the goal. Here's the goal plan. And she held me accountable, but in a way that made me want to believe in myself. So where it was like, hey, you can lean on me for as long as you need to, but at some point get strong enough so you can lean, you're strong enough to stand on your own too. And then now you can help support someone else. And so that's been my greatest driving force, in that it's reassuring and reaffirming to know that there are people who are genuine and they really are invested in others' growth and success just because they want to see them grow and succeed. And that makes me want to do it for others as well.
Yeah, Tanisha's awesome.
I totally agree. She is. I want to add another person is Dr. Ambereen Siraj. She's the founder of Women in Cybersecurity. She saw the need out there in the community and she created this amazing organization. And through it, we've been able to touch so many lives, in the career and helping them in the transition into the industry. But also want to highlight on what Munish said. Some of us, it's growing pains, right? What you go through, then you build this initiative. I'm sure many of us, just like Yvonne said, you walk into a room, you're the only one, right? Or in a virtual setting, you're it shows up to be the only one. But also just stepping into that platform and being the voice for the voiceless and setting that example and helping others, being the bridge to cross over. I'm sure, and I can testify, each and every female represented here has really impacted me, just seeing the work they do in the community. Marie there with Women Cyberjutsu, Rebecca Black Girls School, Yvonne. I mean, it's amazing work, right? We may be in different parts of the United States and doing different missions, but each and every one of us is reaching a different community, a different network. And with it, we're just building one another as we're rising up. So I just want to highlight that each and every one of us is doing an amazing work in this particular space. So keep up the good work, including you, Manish.
Go ahead, Chloe.
Okay, so I would say that all these are wonderful people and everyone that's on here. But I would also say additionally, for myself, it was the place I grew up in. So I grew up in Oakland, California, and is diverse completely, but also it is the hub of activism too. When you see something, you do something. And so when I hear people's personal stories and their experiences, it, sometimes it makes my blood boil. I can't just like sit there and not do anything about it. It's like, okay, what can I do next? How can I help this person? And I think that's one of the things that really pushed me to keep going, is always hearing their personal stories and wanting to make sure that there's a difference. And I think that's why all these orgs were even created, was because of experiences, shared experiences that really just keep us going, no matter, after our day job, we're just like, let's just hit the road and let's just roll up our sleeves and everything.
Awesome. I love that. Munish, what are some barriers that limit or impact the implementation of D&I initiatives in cyber and tech businesses and organizations?
That's a really good question. I spoke at the Diana Initiative, another great group, by the way, last year, about something that had like a connection that happened in my mind, because I've been involved with D&I in the tech space for a while and also in cyber. And I started to hear the same issues. Tell me if these don't sound familiar. It shouldn't be just on us. You don't want to respond just after an incident. You can't build it on after the fact. There are a lot of these same challenges. And I started to dig into even the language that's the same, the idea of privilege. Mm-hmm. Cyber, we have privilege escalation. DE&I, we talk about privilege. In cyber, we talk about vulnerability and scanning for your vulnerability, and you have to patch. And in DE&I, there's a sense of, we don't use the word vulnerability, but there's almost shame around trying to expose the metrics of your organization that are there. It goes on and on. But the idea is that there are some similar challenges here, and there's some lessons from one to the other. I think probably the biggest barrier then, I would say, is a sense of narrowness that's brought on by language. I'm an analytical person, so I'm always like, what do you mean by that term? But I think we all know that in cybersecurity, sometimes you don't want to use your cybersecurity data. If you're trying to influence, if you're trying to change, so I'll say what I think is common here, changing the culture. That's the hardest and most important for both of these. And so in that sense, they're allied, but that is most important. That comes from behavior. That comes from changing the way your organization operates. That's difficult to do. And it doesn't happen alone through language, and language itself can sometimes be a barrier. So I know there was a lot of thoughts in there, but I have thoughts about this.
So we can have another conversation longer, right? And talk about it. Anybody else have any thoughts on what barriers there are that limit or impact the implementation? Go ahead, Chloe.
Sorry, I'm just going to be that school person. I would say the one thing, like, he's completely correct on that. And the one thing research has shown over and over, if we want actual DEI, because I don't think it really exists in our industry, just put it out there. But the reality is you can get it, but it means we start sharing the board. That means we start sharing executive. You cannot have DEI if you don't have that in your leadership. That means if your board is, predominantly white, straight males, you're going to have a hard time having change throughout your org. So we want to see representation at the top, because it does create a trickle down effect. I hate using that term, but it's true. If you want DEI, you got to put people in leadership positions. And I'm not talking about like managers, directors. That's great. I mean up there, the ones that have the vision, the strategy for the company. That also means our VCs. We need to have VCs that also are represented. If we want change, we need representation to start at the top and make sure the VC world is doing that as well, because they're the ones that will fund and place their friends as CEO.
Very true. That's a good point about the VC side of things and how they need to have that diversity in there as well.
I was gonna, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
It's just small thing to add on to that. You know, I think most of us have had the feeling of when your house or your apartment or whatever is a mess. And there are some people who'll be like, oh my gosh, there are so many different things to do. There's so many rooms to clean, and they don't do anything. They'll just put on Netflix and ignore it. And then there's other people who are like, oh, I got to do the kitchen, and they'll start and they'll wash a dish. And then they're like, why is this toy in here? And then they go into the living room and they start cleaning the living room, and then it's scattered. So they start doing so many different things, and nothing really gets done because they're too, scattered, and it's not a focused effort. And I think sometimes that happens in diversity too. There are some, or at least in those programs, there are some people that are well-meaning, and they'll say, well, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do this, but they don't create any structure or foundation to support the things that they say they want to do. And then it doesn't go anywhere. And then there are some people who are like, ugh, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? That's too much. I'm not going to do anything. And that becomes a problem too.
So, Rebecca, I'm glad that you brought that up. So about programs, people being scattered, nothing really happening or nothing being completed, right? So what are some of the successes and outcomes you've seen from diversity initiatives? And what are some of those best practices that you could recommend?
That's a tough question too. The best thing that I've seen is the creation of these orgs, in that there are some people who, if this situation is, we're the like, okay, the place needs to be clean. I'm going to start here, and this is what I'm going to focus on. Somebody's got the bedroom, somebody's got the kitchen, somebody's got whatever, and we're all working together. And then it's yelling across, hey, the kitchen is done. All right, bet. I need some help in the living room, and we're working together. That has been beautiful to me. It was like 2019, maybe 2018 or something. When I Black Tech Twitter to see, I wanted to be involved in cyber, and I was like, who do I connect with? What do I see? And that's when I saw you, Mari, and I won a humble bundle giveaway or something. And it's like a domino effect. That to me, it's also fantastic when allies help and when organizations do whatever, but when it's organic and grows, that's fantastic. It's good for me to see. It bolsters my spirit and keeps me going and want to do other things. So personally, that's been the best thing that I've seen, of when people are like, this needs to be done, I'm doing it.
I like it. Yvonne, what about you?
I do like the organizations, the ones that I've, for some reason, have just come to light to me, very recently. I guess they've been around for such a long time. But ever since I've joined them, I felt like I'm part of something, and I can relate to the people that are around me. So I think the creation of these organizations is absolutely the most important thing that's happened to me in cybersecurity. I think the other thing is all these organizations coming together and actually working together. I've never really thought of many other nonprofits as these entities that kind of combine their efforts together and make things out of that. I think from the Raíces Cyber perspective, I've already met so many other nonprofits that it's like, I want to join them all, and I guess at the end of the day, you don't really have to, because the ones that are in my circle right now, there is so much, there's so much cohesion with them. They all just kind of work together. It's almost as if that was designed from the start, and it's just kind of these little bits and pieces working together to make something, really work well together. I know that that's been a huge success in my perspective.
Awesome.
Great. Can I jump in with just a few?
Yep.
So there's a tactical one, a general one, and then something personal. Tactical one is pay equity studies. And salary transparency. That drives salary transparency. You get those numbers, you get them out there, whether it's by anonymity or it's by gathering data within your organization. I've seen that drive real change, like real bottom line and top line change, because it makes the argument about talent too. The second is, I'll go back to Share the Mic in Cyber. They we're able to turn what is very difficult social media attention and currency into professional capital for people, real professional capital. That is hard to make that conversion. And they did it. And I think they did it by leveraging their access and their privilege, which brings me to the third thing that again, this is from personal experience, but conversations, I firmly believe that how we think and talk about a group when that group is not present is a good baseline of how we actually think about it. So just sort of at the beginning of Me Too, I was on a committee for Women 2.0, which is about women in tech. And the founder got a bunch of men together and said, "You're the Male as Allies group." And we we're like, what? what do you want us to do? And she was like, "Talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to talk to you and you figure this out. You talk amongst yourselves and figure out how to have these conversations with other men." And that stayed with me, because now when I think about the performance of being an ally versus the performance measurement of being an ally, it's my ability to influence others, particularly when those others aren't around. Yes, bring them to the table. Yes, amplify their voices, but there's still going to be times when they're not at the table. So not can I speak for them, but can I, bring people in and say, why aren't there more of them here? So having conversation of just the allies about the folks that aren't here.
I like that. I definitely like that piece of it. Chloe or Noreen, I feel like I saw you guys, one of you wanting to like chime in. If not, that's fine. You don't have to.
We can move on to the next one.
Okay. So with what you just said, Munish, what are some other creative ways to proactively source candidates from underrepresented communities? Outside of the regular job boards and the posting on LinkedIn type of stuff, but what other ways can we get creative to bring folks into cyber that may not think cyber is an opportunity for them? Noreen.
I would say for this example will be what we are doing right now, right? They see us and somebody seated there, the audience, they see me and they see all of us and they have that glimpse of hope. If they can do it, I can do it. So we continue volunteering for such opportunities like this so that others can see and be able to say, even them, they can do it. And also just educating and being the voice, going out there and helping out, capturing them when they're very young too. Like most people, like in their transitioning years, the teenagers and what have you, so that they don't get burned out at the end, not giving into that career, but more so listening with empathy. And when you're talking in this topic, it's also, I've been doing a lot of education, bringing into saying about, there are several types of diversity. We're not just talking about gender, color, and what have you, right? So being aware of what's being represented, there's cultural, there's racial, there's religious, sexual orientation, disability, you name it. We have to be inclusive in all these types of diversity when we are trying to address it and try to bring them in just as they are and just say, as a whole, we need you as you are. I don't want you to leave a piece of you when you're on board, right? I want you, the whole of you, just come and you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it for sure. Go ahead, Yvonne.
Yes, Yvonne.
Well, I actually have this really good idea, and it kind of goes off of what Noreen said. I haven't brought it up, but I'm a huge advocate in in diversity, starting at the kid level, getting young kids in. I grew up in Miami, so Miami's a great example, very Hispanic heavy. And I didn't grow up with IT classes or half of the stuff that I know a lot of people, my peers, grew up with. So what would be cool is to throw in programs like that in those underrated, underrepresented cities and stuff like that. And one of the things I was thinking about is I'm kind of old, but back in the day, we used to have like jump rope for heart. Do you guys remember that? I don't know if you guys are old like me, but you used to have to like jump rope and people would give you money. And if your family and friends would donate money and they'd say, okay, the person who lasts the longest, you win the most money. I think now they do like a fun run. I have 5 kids. So this happens often, like 50 times in a school year. I was thinking, like, what if we just held like this school-wide cyber competition, where we're sponsoring a school. So we're saying, okay, school, donate, go out there, sell some cookies or whatever, make some money. And if you can get to a certain level in this cyber game, you get, a free iPad or whatever it is they get nowadays. But I think that would give kids an idea of what cybersecurity is, what IT is in general. And, they're in middle school or something like that. And they're already like, oh, I want to do this. I mean, how many middle schoolers do you go up to today and they say, and you ask them, what do you want to be when they grow up? Do they say cybersecurity engineer, IT person? It's like, please,
I
bet.
say YouTuber.
Yeah, YouTuber. All my kids want to be YouTubers. And I'm just like, what if we, turn this, what we do as in the Black Girls Hack, and I know Cyberjutsu Con and you guys, or Cyberjutsu, you guys do all those, hack the past and those kind of things. Like, what if we did something like that, a CTF at the school level, that's specific to the age group, and it, gets the kids interested in the field. And then right there, we're already working on making the field more diverse, just from a much younger age, and probably a bit slower, starting from that direction, or from that age on up.
I like it. Let's partner. And I was getting ready to say, Rebecca, I know you guys are going to do something soon too.
Yes, I was going to say, I was like, Black Kids Hack is actually starting. We should partner and all work together and find a way to get that off the ground. But
awesome.
Because the other part of the question was, how do we hire more diverse people? Was that it?
Kinda, yeah. Yep.
Okay. The thing I was going to say is, hey, organization, no need to reinvent the wheel. Reach out to any of the people on this panel. We know some people, who are actively committed to their training and leveling up in skills, who are looking for work. So, hey, reach out to the people who are already sourcing those people. That might help.
Awesome. All right, we got a few. Yep, go ahead, Chloe.
Just really quick, what you can also do additionally with that is every time you get someone's like, I'm looking for someone for this position, this is gonna be the most annoying thing you could do to people, but go in each one of those Slack workplaces and post it. Like, no matter what the org is, and this is what I tend to do, I'll put in like 10 different Slack workplaces. And I know it's annoying, but I wanna make sure that everyone is aware of that job. So anyone who's marginalized can apply to spread the word.
I like that too. So we've got a little bit of time left. I want each of you to go back through and kind of tell us about your organization, and hit some of the top 3 things that you guys are doing and trying to accomplish. And then we'll go into the last question after that. So Noreen, you're first on my screen, so you're up.
That's okay, Mary. Appreciate it. I'll talk on behalf of 2. So at WCIS, we try to reach out for the girls when they are, in that tender age where they are trying to make decisions on their career. So even having that once in a year conference where we merge all the students in academia and also women in industry, so that they can be able to brainstorm this synergy and be able to be mentor coaches to the students. So that's one way we are increasing that diversity aspect. And another thing is even sponsorship, which is very important. Just like Munish said, who's that person speaking on behalf of you when you're not in that space, right? So sponsoring and also doing a lot of mentoring. I do a lot of mentoring individually alone, but still having a community like this is where we also offer those mentorship and cohorts throughout the whole year is very important. In my organization, we also reach out to community and doing a lot of community work where we advocate come as you are, because we are a team sport, come, and everybody is required, because in a team, there is no I, right? So would like each and every one of you, just as you are, come over here. In conclusion, I just want to say, if we can do it, you can do it. And if you have any questions, please reach out to each and every one of us. We welcome you in warm hug. This is industry for you.
Awesome. Thank you, Noreen. Chloe, you're next on my screen.
All right, so we up in tech, we serve, like I said, marginalized genders. So that means women, non-binary. That means if you're trans, you are accepted. Basically, we came together because we wanted to make sure that no matter what your gender was, that you feel accepted and belonged. And so what we tend to do is we do workshops. We also share job postings. We also partner for certain events. We just did one with RSA conference. not going to say RSA, it's RSA conference. And we partner with them and a bunch of other orgs that serve marginalized genders and especially women. And so right now, because of what has happened with the Supreme Court, we are providing resources for everyone to know where they can go regardless of their gender. So everyone feels like that there's a place. We also provide emotional support with each other in the community. We just want to make sure that everyone knows that, you know, they exist. We hear you, we see you, and to know that you're not alone. It's always scary when, you know, if you're someone, especially in the LGBTQ plus community, to come out openly, or if you're thinking about coming out openly, to make sure you have those resources and people behind you.
Awesome. Yvonne, you're up. Yeah, you're not last this time.
I'm pretty sure I was last. Okay, so Raíces Cyber is a pretty cool organization, in my opinion. It focuses on the Hispanic community, starting at the adolescence. You know, the kids. We're trying to get kids familiar with the field and hopefully bring them into this community as they grow up and learn that they can just come out of high school and be, you know, awesome cybersecurity engineers without wasting a ton of money on 100 degrees. The other thing we do is we do mentorships. I've done a lot of those. We walk through resumes, we do practice interviews, things like that with some of my peers there in Raíces Cyber. Another thing we do is sponsorships. We go to other people's events and we put up a table and we talk to people, we learn what they do and see how our organizations can work together. And more to come. We're very new still compared to a few others here on the board. So we're learning from you guys and growing every single day. And we're excited to, you know, put our curriculum out there and get kids joined in and learned on cybersecurity.
Awesome. Rebecca?
I'm a nerd, so my thing is going to reflect my personality. Have you ever felt alone in the world? You wanted to be involved in cybersecurity, but where do I start? Hey, Black Girls Hack is a group for you. It doesn't matter what your background is. If you had a circuitous path, come join. Be part of the squad. We want you. You belong here. I feel welcome. I feel like I belong in the organization that I'm in. I get to work with, like, Raíces is going to be at Girls Hack Village with us. Oh, that's something I should publicize. DEF CON Black Hat is coming up next month, and Girls Hack is going to be sponsoring Girls Hack Village. It's going to be our first village, so woo-hoo, woo. We're going to have workshops and networking event called Shoot Your Shot, and it's a sports theme, and the shirts look super dope. That's neither here nor there. And then we're also going to have a 90s party kickback. Yvonne, you're not that old. You're not old at all. You'll fit in. You'll have a great time. And we also do resume review. We have originally our training was focused more towards red teaming, but we're realizing obviously there's more positions in cybersecurity than just red teaming. So we're broadening that and involving blue team, purple team, any team you are, come swing, play with our team. And yeah, it's a fantastic group. We get to work with fantastic people. Join us if you will.
Yes, I love it. Munish.
So Cyversity, some of you may know, it is about people of color and also women. I really like that intersectional component. Back to the conversation earlier about allies and being allies. I was at a conference that it's mainly people of color, and I was like, where's women? Why are we repeating the same mistake? Like, what's going on? And so this really helps bridge that gap. We do a few things, in addition to mentorship and partnership. We have a number of scholarships that we do with SANS and partnerships with universities. And also we really strive to help people understand what their roles are and where they can go from there. So pathways and boosting their trajectories, of course, bringing others with you, but really for themselves, seeing like, this is where I am, this is where I could go, and then providing the resources for them to be able to do that. Sometimes that's mentorship. Sometimes it's connections with programs. Sometimes it's, you know, talking to a peer group and peer mentors. So that's the thing that we really focus on. And then something that you are going to hear from all of you are going to hear from me, because I am really focusing on closing up this patchwork of the pipeline. So the different groups, where do they hand off? Where do they connect? Where are the overlaps? Because the one thing I don't want to happen, which I've seen happen, is inadvertent competition with each other.
Yep.
For attention, for resources, for all of that. And so, and being, like I said in the beginning, it's sort of a bookend, being inclusive is hard. And part of that is making sure you understand where everybody is and creating space for them for where they are.
Awesome. But wait, there's more. So Cyberjutsu, we've got a lot of stuff coming up as well. One thing we have next weekend on Friday, I don't know if you know about this, Rebecca, there is a webinar that we're doing jointly with BGH for getting prepared to go to DEF CON. So we're going to send that out soon, so everybody that wants to come and hang out with us for that particular session. We've also got small tribes coming up, our form of mentorship, mastermind stuff. We have a lot of volunteer opportunities. We are bringing the Girls Academy back, hopefully by the end of the year. And I definitely want to continue to work with all of these organizations, because we have to do this together. There's no one organization that can do it by themselves. And with that, I appreciate all of you on here. It was such a pleasure to have you on and talk to you. And I think we're going to give it back to Noor and keep it moving.
First off, can we get a round of applause for Mary? Round of applause for Miss Smooth. Yeah, I mean, well done. This is a very, very important topic. And U6, I mean, you just set the standard. So thank you so much. Also, after Rebecca's commercial there, I might be applying to Black Girls Hack. It was
exactly.
It worked. I'll be honest, it worked.